Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today's video, I will show you how you can actually import CSV files and also JSON files straight from your app. So probably you already know that you can actually do this in Firestore itself. So in FlutterFlow Firestore, when you go to Firestore, when you go to manage content, there is an option where you can actually upload your own CSV files, and you can import them into your Firestore collection. So this is the button I'm talking about. Upload your CSV, and when you do this, you actually upload it to a collection in Firestore. But what if you have an admin or some other user that you want them to be able to fill your collection with a CSV file? So this is what we're going to do today. I will show you how you can do it. So first thing first, click on the page and then click import. So when you click import, there are actually two ways you can import it. As I said before, there is this way, which is SVC file, and the other CSV file, sorry, and the other is JSON. So if I click this file over here and click select, and you can see it's uploading the file, and now it's successful. And when I go back here, the collection that I'm using, it's users data, and this is all the 5 documents that are filled automatically. But this is how you can delete them. So I already made a video about how you can import files. If you haven't watched this, go and watch it. It is in my channel. And I extended this video how you can upload different kind of more than one type of file. So you can select, in this case I select JSON and CSV file, and if I actually delete those right now, you can see I deleted those, and I also did a video how you can bunch delete every document in collection. So I already did a video about this. If you haven't watched it already, you can watch it. And then I can import the JSON file and select, and it's uploading the file, and now it's successful. The JSON files are actually better than the CSV files, if you're asking me, because a lot of people are actually using JSON. So that's why I decided to create it with the JSON as well. So this is a bonus content. Even if you have the CSV file in the FlutterFlow, you don't have a JSON option. So I already did that, and you can use it in your app. And if I go over here, you can see all the documents are filled. And the files that I used, I'll show the files. Those are actually the files, and this is one of the file. This is the JSON one. So this is the JSON file, and this is the CSV file. And if you can see the CSV file, you have the delimiter, which is comma dot comma, and then those can be different. So in CSV files, you can have different dividers. So you can have only comma, or you can have it like this. And I already did that. So I already made an option so you can specify what type of divider you have. So let me go first and look at the actual pages. So this is the first page. When you click over here, you go to the page which is import CSV. I call it import CSV, but it's actually import CSV and JSON. And when I have two buttons, the second button, sorry, is the one that delete. And as I said, we already talked about it. This is only bunch delete. If you haven't watched the video, make sure to watch it to understand how I did it. And then we have the import. So when we go to the import option, we are only using the custom action, and the custom action is only taking one parameter, and this is the divider. So divider in my case is this one. You can also modify it so it can take as an argument, it can take the collection that you want to import it to, but I didn't do it this way because there are things that you need to change in the actual code. So if I go to the code, this is the code I'm using. So let's go through the code. So first things first, you need the CSV package. So if the package that I'm using, sorry, and before I show you the packages, I wanted to briefly show you where I download this sample data. So this is the website that I downloaded the sample data. I will make sure to post the link in the description of the video. So if in case you want to download it, this is the actual link, and this is the actual data that will be given as a form of CSV file. And then I used this site over here, which I will link in the description again, which you can copy and paste the actual CSV file. And when you click convert, it will actually convert it to JSON. So those are the ways that I use it. So if you want to follow my tutorial exactly the same way that I did it, you can do it using those two links. And then let's continue. This is the CSV package that I used. So it's packages CSV. It's I think the main one package, which you have to add it over here. When you add it over here, make sure to click this green button. Also, make sure that you click both options on. So execute from compilation and include build context. And then this is the actual my name of the custom action. It's import from CSV or JSONs. And this and we have also one argument, which would be the divider. So the argument, it's simply called divider, and it's a string and it's nullable. And this is the divider. As I said, it can be comma, or it can be dot comma or dot, or wherever your divider is. And then this is the null safety. If we don't have any divider provided and the divider is null, then take the comma divider, because the comma one is the most broad, so the most used one. And then the 26. Make sure you, of course, make sure you have all the imports like here. So copy and paste them. Just copy and paste them. So all the imports like this, actually, all those imports. And then let's go over this line, which is to take the actual Firestore. And when we get to the actual Firestore, I made a to-do that you actually have to change your collection name. So in this case, change the collection name. In my case, it's user data, but you have to change it to some other collection that you have. Currently in this situation, there is no, or at least I don't know a way to do this dynamically. So you have to actually specify the collection manually and write this in the code. But if you want to import it only in one collection, then I think you're good to go. And then just write the collection with exactly the same way you wrote it in here. So if you go to Firestore, and this is the collection that I'm using. So if you have a capital letter, make sure to write it with a capital letter. But with my experience, I can say that never use a capital letters. Actually, the first letter it should never be a capital letter. It's always has to be a lower letter. So make that sure when you name your collections over here, make sure they are with lower letters. The first letter will be a lower letter. And then when you wrote the collection name, the second line, the next line, sorry, is the allowed extensions, and in this case is CSV and JSONs file types. And the next one, it's if there is an uploaded file, you get the message show uploading upload message, which it says uploading file. You can change this text to wherever you want to. And then here we're actually taking the file as bytes, and here we're getting all the rows. So we have all the rows, we have the file type, which we have the file type. So we need to know what type of file we're going to upload. Is it a JSON or is it a CSV file? Because if it's a JSON, there is one logic, and if it's a CSV file, there is another logic. So this is what this if is actually doing. We have if the selected file, the storage path, it contains JSON. So if in the name of the file there is JSON, that means this JSON file type. So if it's a JSON file type, then we need to JSON decode it. And in order to JSON decode it, we have this Dart converter, import Dart converter. And then we encode it, and we have rows. So now we have every single row. And if we have every single row, we can loop through all the rows. So those are the looping through all the rows. So if I open the JSON one more time, this is what we are going to get. So let me put the JSON over here so you can see what we're getting. And then, of course, this will not work. Maybe I can put it over here like this. Maybe it will be better. Yeah, so maybe you see what's going on over here. So on the right side. So when we have all the rows, so this is one row, as you said. And then this is the other important part that you have to change, and probably it's a good way to actually do and then write change. This needs to be changed to according to your collection. So if my collection is users data, as you can see it over here, if I mark users data, you can see that it's marked over here. So you have to do the same. So if your data is, for example, orders, let's say orders, it's your data, you have to change actually this part of the code, and you can do it with Control D, and then it will select this part as well. And you can do it with a capital letter. So it's important to do it with a capital letter. So orders will be your name of the class. So your name of the class will be always changeable. It will be always changed. It needs to be changed based on your collection name. So as I said, if your collection name is user data, then make sure it's the capital letter, the first letter is the capital, and then create your collection name with the first capital, and then record data. This is how you structure your class, and this is what FlutterFlow are doing and how they're doing it. So this is how you have to do it as well. And then the second lines are the actual fields. So if I go over here and if I show you the actual collection, so this is the users data, and those are all my users data fields. So I have the username, the identifier, which is integer. I have the one pass, the recovery, the first name, the last name, the department, and the location. So those are how many? There are 8, I think. So those are all 8. And if I go over here on the code, we need to actually import all the fields. So those are the fields: username, identifier. Make sure they're all the same. Make sure they're all lower cases. We don't have uppercase here. And the structure that you need to use it's username 2 dots. And if you have this check over here, actually, I think you can actually, if you write this correctly, if you write this correctly over here, if you write the name correctly, if you hover with your mouse, you should be able to see all the fields that you can import. And then if I write over here username, for example, you can see that it's auto-completing my field. So that's great, actually, that you can use this if you don't remember what you wrote for fields, or if you don't want to misspell it, just use this way. And then we have the username identifier, one password recovery, fname, last name, lname, department, and location. And if you hover with the mouse again, you get what type of data it's expecting to have. And in this case, we have the row. Because we are looping through all the fields, we have only one row. So you can imagine that we have only, in this first iteration, we have only one, row of the table, so to say. And then here are the actual data that we're taking from the JSON. So you need to change this as well to correspond to your JSON. So in my case, it's username, and then we have the identifier, one-time password. We can actually have spaces over here. If you have space in your JSON, like here, you can see it over here. If you have space here, make sure it's the same. So it needs to be the same, lowercase, uppercase, everything needs to be the same. So just copy and paste those. And those are everything. Those are the keys that we're copying and pasting. So those are the fields from the collection. Those are the keys from my JSON file. And then this is the collection that we're going to add it. And then we need add, and then we're adding the actual document. And this is all to it with the JSON part. So we're done with the JSON part, and let me show you what is it with the CSV file. So if it's a JSON, go over here. But if it's not a JSON, I'm assuming you are uploading a CSV file. And I'm doing this because you can only upload either CSV file or a JSON. So if it's not a JSON, then it will be a CSV file. So if I go over here, this will be for CSV file, and the CSV files, first thing I need to split them with an enter. So this is like an enter, like a new line. So split them by new lines. And then let me show you the actual file. So this is the actual file. And you can see that those are new lines. But of course, in the code, new lines are represented with the characters like that. So it's the characters are actually slash and then n. This represents a new line in coding. And then you have to, and this you have to loop through them. And the first line is actually, you can see the first line from the file is the actual header, so to say. So this is all the data, all the keys are on the first line. So we are actually skipping the first line. So we skip the first line. We don't need the first line. And then here we have the divider. So we're getting the divider, and we're splitting every line. So we're getting, for example, this line over here, we're splitting it to the divider. In my case over here, the divider will be comma dot, or yeah. And then this is actually what you need to change. So this is actually the same thing that you need to change on this line. Over here. So it's over here. I don't know why I didn't save it. So yeah. So this line, so it's change. And then over here, so you need to change the class name again, the same thing. But when you change it there, just do the same thing over here. I already explained how you can do it. So I'm not going to explain it again. And then the fields are actually the fields coming from over here. So this is the first field, for example. This is the second field, the third field, the fourth field, and so on and so forth. But because in coding everything comes with the first index is 0, so it should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then because this is an integer, you have to actually parse this in integer. And in order to parse this, we have the int.parse and then the field that we're using. You're asking why we don't parse it over here. The simple answer is that I think it's actually understanding that this is an integer from a JSON, but it's not understanding if this is an integer from a CSV file. So yeah, this is how it is. And then this is how we're adding the actual document to the collection. And the last part is that we say success. And when we see the success message, that means that everything gets added to the collection, to Firestore, in Firestore. So everything it's running great. And you can change this text again if for wherever you want to. You can write wherever you want to here. So the only let me briefly say what you have to do. So I will do this to do, and the only things that you need to change are the actual keys over here. So you need to change the keys also. Don't forget about this. So we need to change the keys and change the keys over here. And you need to change, of course, you need to change the fields as well. So here the keys, the fields, and the keys. And here we need to change only the fields. So just write the fields that are on your collection and change them. And that's it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was something that will work on your end, and I hope that when you actually give it a go and when you try it, let me know if it worked for you. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.